John Donne was an English poet who lived from 1572 to 1631. He had quite a sordid past, having been a satirist, a lawyer, and a cleric in the Lutheran Church, though he was secretly married to Anne Moore, with whom he fathered 12 children. Despite a large inheritance, he spent much of his life in poverty. From this, he garnered a great deal of wisdom. One of my favorite readings from him follows. No man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if by promontory were, as well as if a manner of thy friends, or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. And therefore, never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. John Donne garnered a great deal of wisdom from his varied experiences in life, as do we all. Allow me to evince that each of us has an effect on the other. No one goes through life without affecting those around them, and no one goes through life without being affected by those that surround them. I have come to look at it as a simple concept. I myself, as an individual entity, have a variety of persons in my orbit. You are in my Toastmasters orbit. Many of you are in my friendship orbit. One who's not here is in my family orbit. As I approached the meeting today, I encountered multiple people who I made eye contact with. They too are in my orbit, though only fleetingly. But as you think of yourself as an individual entity and consider those that are in your orbit, those that are closer, and those that are further away. Every single person you encounter, you affect. You choose the manner of that effect. Wouldn't you agree? So that's kind of how I've turned around Mr. Donne's observations in life. I've come to look at different levels of relationships. Acquaintance, passers-by, friends, relatives. The deepest level, the closest orbit to me, are those that I love deeply. But there's another that's close. And it's one that most of you have experienced in one way or another. It's that of the mentor-mentee relationship. That relationship, other than the loving relationship, is perhaps the single most important relationship you will ever experience in your life. The closest orbit where you can have a positive or a negative or an insignificant effect on the person you're with. Think about that for a moment. What an opportunity. There's several people in this club that I've had the privilege of mentoring. Some that I mentored today. I've been in Toastmasters now for over 18 years. Toastmasters has changed my life, but not because of the manuals, not because of the speeches I've given, not because of me. My life has been changed because of those men and women who have chosen, who have accepted the challenge to mentor me, to help me grow. When I came into my first Toastmasters door, I was terrified. Probably more than most people are. But you You'd never know it to look at me today, would you? I'm still terrified. But I've learned to make the butterflies fly in formation. I saw it. Let me tell you a story. I was a young man. I was 19 years old. I was married. I had a baby at home. I had my first adult job. Wow. I was an aircraft mechanic. I was responsible for these huge cargo airplanes. And I was pretty much working by myself. Except for a young teenage boy. His name was Mario. And that young teenage boy, he had been there for about a year working part-time to fuel the ground equipment and do ground equipment maintenance and to help out the mechanic when it was necessary. When the mechanic that I replaced became ill, he did his very best to carry that burden. For 3 months, he carried that burden until he brought me in there. I was a licensed aircraft mechanic. Still fresh out of school. Barely had any grease under my nails. I was in charge. It was my first experience being responsible for anyone else outside of a family. I'd like to tell you I did a good job. I didn't. I was 19. I was arrogant. I was ignorant. And I thought only of myself. I was still a child outside. As was he. He expected more. And I didn't understand it. I didn't recognize it. I didn't even consider it. He did his best to support me. I thought that we had a good working relationship. Until 2 months later, he drove his car into an overpass at 120 miles an hour and killed himself. Not a single skid mark, no doubt. See, I had an opportunity to be a mentor to that man, to help him at that stage of his life, but I was so focused on myself, I couldn't think of anyone else. I didn't see the opportunity. This is a very dramatic example, and it's one I'll never forget. But think of your own lives. How many times have you had a chance to help someone but did not? I believe it happens far too often. I would ask that anyone in this room who has mentored another, please stand for a moment. Now, those of you who have been mentored by someone else who's made a significant difference in your life, remain standing. Thinking of this and how significant this mentoring relationship has been to each of you as a mentor, as a protege, how can we not be available? How can we not be available to mentor when someone calls for help? Please sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, the foundation of Toastmasters is this mentoring program. And I know there's no official script on it from the Toastmasters International, but one of the reasons I joined this club, Midday Madness, is because of the strong mentoring program we have here. I was surprised to learn that we have more people needing mentors than we have available mentors in this club, in Midday Madness. That's not our culture. So, from this day forward, I am making myself available to anyone who needs mentoring. I don't care how busy I am. I don't care what else I have going on. I will do my very best to help anyone in this club and anyone in Toastmasters find the growth that they seek. Now I ask you, will you stand with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aaron Ralston is the speaker of one of my favorite quotes in life. The only thing stronger than the will to live is the will to love. When we think of mentoring, when we think of these various orbits, the close ones, the distant ones, every one of them is fueled by love. I have found myself that if I focus on love in my life and extend that love to the people in my orbit, that my life becomes filled with joy. On the way to the meeting today, I was walking down the sidewalk and I saw somebody. We made eye contact for just a moment, and I smiled at them. And they smiled back. A very distant orbit, but still one to which we can project our love.